What's up, degenerates? Here, Sunday Night Football, hanging with the boy. Dude, it's been a great Sunday. I took my brother down. Rivalry week number 1 in the books. Frankie, did you have a good Sunday?
Yes.
Football, baby.
Yeah.
See you guys on the pod. This has been a great week 1. All right, guys, welcome back to the Ordinaree Fantasy Pod, week 2. I'm your host, Ben Conroy. With me, as always, Nathan Boudreau and my brother, Matt Conroy. Welcome in, guys. Man, that was an awesome week, dude. We had so much fun last week on the pod, speculating on this next week, and then it happened, and now we're like, ah! It's here. I don't know. That's how I felt anyways. Watching football on Sunday, I was just like freaking out. My kids were there. They were all excited, which is not normal here at the Conroy house, but you guys know Frankie's all into football now. So dude, it was a great weekend for me. How about you guys? Thoughts on week 1? Nathan, you go first.
Yeah, I will tell you, I had a fun Sunday, but one of the biggest killers in fantasy football is this little thing I like to call hope. You know, I came into the main league thinking no chance of winning. I can have a nice easy Sunday. Cooper Kupp's out. Jerry Judy's out. All my players are hurt, so no worries. And then you come in, and it's like, holy shit, I'm outscoring Dre, and I'm outscoring Justin, who I have this bet with. And all of a sudden, you get that little glimmer of hope, and then it just, of course, it breaks your heart to let you down. I lost by a few points, and it turns out the last player that I dropped on Saturday afternoon, I dropped Kendrick Bourne, and if I would have just kept him in my lineup, I would have beat both Justin and Dre. So that little fucker hope got me again.
Matt, how about you, man? How was your week 1?
Yeah, it was amazing. I had a great time. Won in a lot of my leagues. Didn't win in most of the leagues I play with you guys in, which is cool because you can't prove it if I'm lying or not. So that's cool. But I will tell you, my actual favorite part of the entire weekend was when your daughter, Ben, called me.
Yeah.
And she wanted to talk to me about the Thursday night football game, about the Lions and Chiefs that Frankie, knew they were going to win. And you kept telling him that, history's not on their side. They're probably going to be the Lions. They're probably going to lose. I'm ad-libbing a little bit. And she goes, and they won. The Lions won, and Frankie's happy. And she goes, Matt, I'm mostly a 49ers fan, but I'm starting to go with the Lions too now.
Oh, yeah, I know. She told me that. She did tell me. She said, when I'm not rooting for the 49ers, I kind of want to root for the Lions because they're from Michigan, and that's where my family's from. Which, hey, look, I'm all about them just being into football.
That's awesome.
I mean, that's all I care about because over the last, 5 years since Frankie's been, kind of, come online as a kid, I've been trying to get him into football. And now he's here, man. He sat and watched the whole Lions game with me.
Yeah.
He cheered. He was happy. It was awesome, man. I mean, I couldn't be a happier dad on week 1. It was great.
Yeah, on Sunday we were watching the Niner game, and my kids aren't watching the game at all. They usually don't. But every time there was a touchdown, I'm yelling, Ayuk! And Amelie's running in the room going, I have him on my fantasy team. And then CMC had that big 65-yard touchdown, and Charlotte ran in the room. That's my running back.
Yeah, I love it.
They hear it in the other room, and they're getting excited about it. It's fun.
I love it, dude. Well, I mean, dude, it was a great week 1. I think we all had a great time, and I can't wait to look at these videos later that our guys shared with us about their week 1. So we got some videos to show you guys. That's really exciting. Before we get into our injuries and stuff, Nathan, you were talking about hope a second ago, but it also reminded me to think about tinkering. And, the little bit of tinkering that you sometimes do right before, week 1 or before a game and stuff, and, falling prey to tinkering. And before we get into everything else, I kind of wanted to get your guys' opinion on that because I wanted to bring it up last week before week 1, but I forgot to. Did you guys fall prey to the tinkering at all? I know you just told us a little bit, Nathan, but any more?
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, there is such a thing as over tinkering for sure. And unlike Matt, I only lost 1 league this week. I won all of my leagues. I play in 15, 16. I won them all except for the main league.
Wow.
And that was the 1 league that I was forced to tinker in because of all my injuries. And so I was tinkering all week. And sometimes you make the right moves. Sometimes you make the wrong moves. I fell prey to a bad article telling me that the Belichick offense was going to come to the Raiders, and then all of a sudden, I was like, oh, I'll give Hunter Renfrow a chance, and I just made that one last tinker, and that's what got me. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely over tinkering, but it's all a guessing game. And what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I don't think there is such thing as over tinkering. Over tinkering means you stop looking, stop thinking about stuff, stop, predicting stuff, stop fighting to win. I think tinkering is exactly what is needed to win. I think people get stale, stop working the waiver wire, stop moving people in and out. They just go, oh, this guy's there. I'll keep using him every week. You got to look at matchups. You got to look at everything. So I disagree. Tinker all you want. That's what I'm all about. I love it.
All right, that's cool. I was just curious because I that's something that I know a lot of people fall prey to, and that's but it's you see both sides of the coin. I see both sides of yours. And speaking of in that vein, right now we're going to talk about injuries because right after this week 1, there's some big guys who are out, and you're going to be tinkering. I love that word tinkering, so I'm going to try and say it a little more. You're going to be tinkering with your lineups big time here because you got some major injuries that happened. Let's get right into the first one, the major one. And unfortunately, I feel a little responsible for this. Aaron Rodgers, Achilles, out for the season. That was a big loss. I predicted it, even though some people in this podcast don't agree with me, but I did predict it. How do you guys think about it? What do you guys think? Are the Jets over? Are they done? What do you guys think?
I think that's Aaron Rodgers' last play he ever plays. He's almost 40. It's tough to come back, especially at that age. That was his last game he'll ever play. And as far as this season, I think the two options are Wilson and Joe Flacco, because Joe Flacco was there last year. He knows their system. That's probably a guy they already called to get in there. But yeah, Garrett Wilson will have great games. Breece Hall will have great games. But as a team, done.
Are we sure Garrett Wilson's going to have great games?
Yeah.
I mean,
he's the kind of talent that it doesn't matter who's thrown to him. I think so.
It kind of mattered last year. I mean, and I know he was a rookie last year, but if you look at the splits, all of his best games came when Wilson was not throwing the ball to him. All of his best games came from Mike White or from Joe Flacco. Every time Zach Wilson was in the game, he would tend to be as quiet as he was last night. And last night he got bailed out by a touchdown, but it was a really bad night for him. And I'd be really worried if I was a Garrett Wilson owner right now.
No, you're right. I misstated that. He's going to be fine as in you can play him. He's not going to have his value you draft him at. I stated that wrong. But yeah, you got to bump him down to, low end 2, something like that. But
I mean, there's going to be people drafting still after week 1. There's still people setting up their fantasy leagues, and it happens every year. If you draft Garrett Wilson now, where are you drafting him?
Where was he taken? Yeah.
Second round.
I think you still have to take him in the second round, but yeah, he's not up there with the upper echelon anymore.
Yeah,
I mean, he was really starting to scratch his way into that that top 6, top 7 wide receivers conversation, and now he might be more in like the teens, I would say.
Yeah, I would say he's top 18, somewhere in there.
All right, guys. J.K. Dobbins, torn Achilles. This one was pretty much they knew right away what it was. Aaron Rodgers, they wanted to wait, but the Achilles for Dobbins was just like boom. And I feel bad for this kid, as I'm sure the rest of you guys do. I mean, this guy just came back from injury and now he's hurt again.
Yeah, his whole career has been a little bit marred by injury. He had a lot of hype coming in as a rookie. Didn't have a great rookie year, and then he got injured the next year, and it just seems like this kid can't catch a break. So I feel really bad for him. It'll be interesting to see, who steps up in his place, because Baltimore wants to run the ball. So somebody's going to get, the lion's share of the carries. Who's that going to be? I guess we'll have to find out.
It's going to be split between Melvin Gordon and Gus Edwards, with Justice Hill doing the catching. So they're all going to be useless. But I'm going to start Gus Edwards because I have him in a bunch of places. Sucks.
Yeah, I also picked up Gus Edwards in the draft. I drafted him as a backup because I, just had a really weird feeling about Dobbins. I wasn't sure. You know what I mean? Coming off that injury, you don't know if how he's going to be. So there you go.
Isn't that also because you only had $1 picks left and you couldn't get anybody else better?
Oh, maybe. Don't tell me.
Just want to make sure.
Don't try and tell me. My draft. It was a strategy. All right, Matt, you lost Deontay Johnson this week, which I was thrilled about. Although I feel bad for the kid. I know.
You're calling injuries. You're cheering for injuries. Who are you? Get off this pod, dude. That's ridiculous. You got to stop it.
Cheering for injuries. I'm cheering against you.
You just said you were happy for an injury.
That's goodness gracious. Oh, I'm not happy.
Let's stop doing injuries. All right. So Deontay Johnson, I think he's only going to be out 2 weeks.
Jesus Christ.
They said a few of them, but yeah, I think it's only going to be 2 weeks. I'm more worried about the quarterback. Pickett looked freaking terrible yesterday. I mean,
Well,
he looked or Sunday he looked terrible. So I'm worried about this team as a whole. I know they played a great defense.
and have you seen the latest conspiracy theory with Pickett?
Oh, which one?
So they show, if you go online, you can find it right now. Right, very early in the game, he gets hit pretty bad, and it looks like he whacks his head on the turf. The conspiracy is that he was probably playing with a concussion the entire time, and they didn't follow the protocol and get him checked when they should have, and that may have resulted in his poor play.
That's a good reason, though. I mean, because he looked bad. They look bad altogether. So
Yeah, and I think Deontay's going to be out longer than 2 weeks, unfortunately. These hamstrings tend to linger. The way that they made it sound when they reported it today was, I think, a minimum of a month. I wouldn't even be surprised if they put him on IR.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard multiple weeks today. That's what I heard. So, look, I'm not cheering for injuries here. I am cheering against you. Okay, let's clear that up. And enough of that. All right, let's move it along. Eckler, ankle injury. Don't know how long he's going to be out. Don't know how serious it is. But Nathan, as you know, and I know, Eckler's a fantasy football fan, and he's a big supporter of it. And when he's hurt, he usually tells people because he likes to let his fantasy people know. How do you read this?
Yeah, it's a little bit concerning because the injury happened, and then he tried to make a little bit of a comeback into the game, and he was only able to handle 4 more carries, and then he left again.
Yeah.
So with a warrior like Eckler, you have to be concerned that he wasn't able to give it a go. The rumor out there is that it might be a high ankle sprain. I believe they're still waiting on the results of the MRI to say exactly what the severity is, but I definitely would want to make sure I had his handcuff. It looked like Kelly was going to be getting more involved anyways.
Yeah.
So I definitely would want to have the handcuff there, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Eckler misses some time.
He said the coach said today that he is questionable for Wednesday's practice, and that's it. That's as far as they're going. So, the information isn't coming out yet, but we'll find out. Aaron Jones hamstring. Anybody timeline on that, Matt? You got a timeline on that by any chance?
I haven't seen one of you.
I haven't.
I haven't seen anything on it. They obviously they're going to be a little cautious with him, but they damn need him because AJ Dillon is a freaking train wreck. That guy had so much potential. 4 years ago we all thought he would be great.
Well, no, he's only a train wreck in September and half of October. But
he is
once
not
the
a
leaves
good
fall off
football
the trees, that's when AJ Dillon starts plowing. He will be just as good as always.
You can use him for those 7 weeks and not the rest of the season. But yeah, he looked pretty bad. He looked pretty bad.
Horrible. He's always bad in September.
Yep.
And Aaron Jones looked so good at the beginning of that game, man. It's a bummer for anybody who has him on their team. All right, we had some other tight end injuries to talk about. Kelsey, Andrews, Waller, Kittle, and Dulcich. You guys want to break those down for us?
Well, Dulcich's going to be out for a while. They're saying maybe go on IR, so he'll be out for a few weeks.
Same injury as last year, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
And the others, it's the waters are still a little bit muddy. We don't know if Kelsey's coming back this week or not. We're recording on a Tuesday, so the information we have at this point is limited. But man, it's been a bad year for tight end injuries early on. If you invested in one early in the draft, you're probably hurting right now.
Yeah, definitely. How bad was Kittle's injury? Did you guys hear? I didn't see it.
No. Kittle was still dealing with the same injury, and he was questionable all week. I don't think he got a new injury.
Okay, that's why I was confused because I didn't see an injury. That's why I was confused on that one. Sorry. Here's my one note on Kelsey. His injury may be dragging him down, but it's not hurting his dating life. Did you see that he was linked to Taylor Swift hanging out with Taylor Swift after the game?
Not only that, but the rumors a few weeks ago, he went to her concert when she played over here in LA. And I guess he tried to make a pass at her, or he sent some signals off to her people. Like his people went and told her people that he was interested. Yeah. And he got rebuffed at the time.
Ooh.
She's not interested. And then a few weeks later, look at our man.
Yeah.
Look at our man. Now he's all of a sudden
the first quote that popped in my head because I hadn't heard that relationship yet is the Ivan Drago quote in Rocky. I will break you.
He is a very large man, and she doesn't appear to be very big. But good for him, man. Trying to get that money, man. He's got plenty of money, but you don't got Taylor Swift money.
Do you guys watch their podcast, the Kelsey brothers?
No, but I saw a clip of it last week, and I was like, "Damn, that shit was funny." I should watch
hilarious, dude. Freaking hilarious. Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
They're the funniest brothers that do a podcast that I know.
Yeah.
Well, F you.
I agree. There's no doubt about it.
Hey, I'm pulling my weight. I don't know. Here's the thing. All right, guys, let's move it on from injuries to our transactions of the week. We're gonna play a little game here in this segment that we like to call this or that, and we're gonna get right into it right now. Who's gonna score more fantasy points this season? I'm gonna give you guys a couple names, and you guys are gonna talk about it. All right. So first one out of the list, who I seem to remember saying good things about last week on this podcast, Puka Nacua or Tutu Atwell. Who's going to have more fantasy points the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to when Cup gets back, because I think Puka Takua will have more points. Will have more points than Tutu if Cup is not in the lineup. But I think as soon as Cooper comes back, since Cup will have the most, Tutu may be second at that point. So over a season, it's going to be really hard to tell out of those two. But once Cup comes back, neither will really matter that much, I don't think.
Yeah, and I think Puka's not even available in our league, but for the benefit of people that have smaller leagues, I know some people watch this podcast that play in 10-man leagues, and he might be on the waivers. I think Puka, just like Matt said, is going to have that short-term value, whereas Tutu may have more long-term value. I think once Cup comes back, I think Tutu's going to find himself still, getting a lot more play, and that's what we said a few weeks ago, is that Puka's game is more similar to Cup's. Keep in mind, though, there's no guarantee Cup's going to be back week 5.
Right.
So if I was going to the waiver wire right now, I think I'd probably be putting in a bigger bid for Puka, but I would have to understand that it's probably going to be a short-term value.
Yeah, that all sounds right.
I think the kid showed off this week. He showed what he could do. And I think right now, if I was to choose, I would think Puka would be my choice of who's going to finish. I think Atwell or Tutu is going to be really dependent on that deep, long ball, as opposed to all the quick receptions that Puka is going to get or could potentially get. So I like Puka there personally.
I don't think Puka even played on more than 50% of the snaps, if I remember that right from here this weekend. Like he didn't even run. He ran like 28 routes or something like that. Now he got tons of targets when he's in there, but he's just not ready to run the whole route tree. He's not ready to run the whole offense yet. He's got great talent, like you said, Ben. He's got talent. I just don't know the usage will be there all season.
I think they're saying 15 targets from a rookie in his first game puts him in the upper echelon. Top 5 of all time.
Yep.
So it's very rare for a player to come out of the gates like that. So it's it's a good sign. But
he kind of reminds me of, not saying he's Cup, but the production as a rookie. I guess Cup. Well,
Cup wasn't even playing as a rookie, was he?
His first year, though, that he did play is, I guess, what I meant. Not necessarily his rookie year, but first year he got play, he showed out, and so did Puka. He showed out. All right, Cam or Kyron? Let's go Cam or Kyron on the Rams.
What a frustrating timeshare this is going to be. There was some hints in the preseason that the Rams liked Kyron a lot, and they were hoping that he was going to step up this year, but all indication was that Cam Akers was the starter. He's still, as of today, listed on the depth chart as the starter, but you wouldn't know it by watching that game because Kyron was getting the majority of the work. He was getting all the receptions. He was getting all the high quality looks at the end zone. So it's going to be a little bit of a disaster. It's worth noting, though, that that's kind of how last year started for Cam as well. And then he ended up taking back his starting job. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I've been out on Cam all season. Because I wasn't a believer in that offense. I told you guys that before. But I think Cam's the one to own going forward, for sure.
You think Cam is?
Yeah, Cam, definitely. Yeah, I don't think there's any question about it.
All right. I have no opinion on this. Gus or Justice? Let's move it on.
Yeah, so we talked about Gus a little bit earlier. I don't think either of them are going to be that great. I really love Hill's talent. I've had him on Dynasty for a couple of years. I've been waiting for him to break out. I just don't think anybody in that team is going to get enough touches to matter. Like I said, as soon as the injury happened, they already bringing Melvin Gordon back or up from the practice squad. Gus Edwards, Hill. I think they're all going to get 10 to 12 touches a week. And, whoever gets a touchdown will be startable as a flex, but you'll never know who it is. What do you think, Nate?
Gus Edwards, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but he's been, when he's healthy, one of the most efficient running backs in the league. I think he averages almost 6 yards a carry, which is, very high on the efficiency metric. So as long as he's healthy, I think, Gus is probably the person to own. But he's had a hard time staying healthy throughout his career, and they seem to really like Justice a lot. They featured him a lot in their preseason games, and there was a lot of hype from the beat reporters that people liked him. So, we'll see. The one person I would not run out to grab would be Melvin Gordon. I don't think that he's going to be, worth starting or playing at any point this season.
All right, season long. Who has more points at the end of the year between the three of them?
I think Gus.
If Gus stays healthy, Gus.
Okay. All right.
All right, let's move it on to Kendrick Bourne or Devontae Parker.
Yeah, so Devontae Parker, Matt and I were talking about this a few weeks ago that, he was listed as the number one on the depth chart and that he should be getting a lot of looks this year. But, he's one of these guys that just, always lets you down. He never really lives up to the expectations. And I started hearing buzz on Kendrick Bourne a few weeks ago that they really liked him there. That was one of the reasons I went and picked him up in our main league and almost played him. So, honestly, if I had to put money on it at this point, I would say I would trust Kendrick Bourne more than Devontae Parker rest of the season.
I'm 100% with you. I after seeing that game, there's no doubt in my mind that Bourne's the guy there.
All right, let's move it on to our fantasy running back that was touted as one of the top guys coming out of the draft over the last I don't know how many years. I mean, Bijan Robinson and Algier on the other side. Who do you guys think is going to end up with the most points? And this is interesting because this week one game, they both showed out. So how do you guys look at it?
Actually, a little bit of respect to Mrs. Robinson, please. It's Bijan.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, say it correctly. We respect the mothers around here.
Sorry, Bijan.
Dude, Algier looked great. He is by far the goal line back. Is what it looked like that day. Arthur Smith, coach. Mm-hmm. He is so freaking happy they won. Running the ball that many times is just going to solidify what they're going to do. He said after the game, Drake London, no catches. He's happy about it. Pitts, he's happy about it. They're going to run. They're both starting options the rest of the way, Bijan and Algier, until something else happens. If he'll run it 50 times a game if they're going to win, if he thinks they're going to win.
Yeah, I think they're both going to be valuable in fantasy, and I would have no problem starting Algier as my RB2 or in a flex. I think Bijan, is clearly the back to own there, and I think by the season's end it'll be a pretty large disparity in the fantasy points between the two of them. I think Bijan is not only going to be better than Algier, but he'll be the number one running back in fantasy this year, in my opinion. But yeah, his rookie season, you're always going to have that question of what could have been if they gave less carries to Algier, because he's definitely going to eat into his production a little bit.
I mean, do you really want them not to give Algier touches? I mean, it looks like it's good for the offense.
No, I mean, if Bijan continues to perform like he did on Sunday, I have no issues with it. Keep him fresh, keep him healthy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But I think we're going to look back and say he could have had like an LaDainian Tomlinson rookie year, but instead he had an Ezekiel Elliott, which is still a very good rookie year, right? So I think that's going to be, you're just going to see Algier vulture some touchdowns from him from time to time, and it's going to frustrate the Bijan owners, but at the end of the day, he's still going to be RB1 in my opinion.
Do you think they're going to use them in like a such a way that you might be tempted to, if you have them both, to use them both?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I my first waiver claim is for Algier tonight in a thin league, and I'll be playing them both if I get it.
It reminds me of back in the day with the New York Giants running backs, when all three of them they had were all so good that you had to, you didn't know which one to start, fire, ice, and whatever back in the day.
Thunder and lightning.
No, when it was remember the New York Giants had
like Brandon
Jacobs, all
Tiki
those
Barber.
they had like three different
Brandon,
running backs that they would start in all those games, and you're always like, damn, which one's going to get the freaking touchdown? Which one's going to get, it's the same type of situation. Algier is going to vulture all those touchdowns, or
I don't think it'll be as bad as we're making it out. Yes, Algier got 2 touchdowns this past week, and Bijan only got 1. I don't think that's going to be the ratio moving forward. I think Bijan's definitely going to have and again, that's just my opinion, but I think he's clearly the more talented back.
Yeah,
that one highlight that I saw of him, because I didn't get to watch that game, but the one highlight I saw of him catch that ball or right outside the end zone, and he made that guy miss, and then just I mean, dude, he looked so good.
Yeah.
So good.
He's a
He's
beast.
a talent.
Yeah. Last one, guys. Najee Harris and Jalen Warren.
Yeah, I know Nate has Warren. I know he's hoping he can play him this year in our main league. I'm not a big fan of either. I think the Steelers like Harris. I think that's going to be the guy all year long. Warren will get his touches, but I don't think it's going to be enough to where you're going to want to start him every week. Even though I think Warren is probably the better back, but I think that the Steelers are fine knowing they have good run, blitz pickup, 3.2 in a cloud of dust is fine with the Steelers. And that's about all they're going to get from him, and they're happy with it.
Yeah, and listen, I don't want to start Jalen Warren either. I played him this week because I was out of desperation. I had no other options. Yeah. So I don't want to start Jalen Warren, but I'll tell you what, ever since Najee's entered the league, I've never really been a believer in his talent. I watch him running out there. It looks like he's running in quicksand. He doesn't seem to have any quick decisiveness. His rookie year, really what bailed him out was that Ben Roethlisberger had a noodle arm that final season, and he was doing a bunch of dink and dunks. So Najee, led the league in catches out of the backfield, which was, contributing to a lot of his production. But now he's not even the preferred player in that role. Now, when they do dink and dunks, they're doing that to Jalen. And especially late in games when they're trailing, like they were against the Niners, it was Jalen Warren that was getting those passes when they're trying to catch up. So if that's going to be his role moving forward, I think he definitely could blossom into an RB2 for fantasy purposes. But right now, if I had the option to, I would bench him.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, guys. Well, hopefully that helped you out this week with some choices that you need to make. And that was this or that. All right, guys, here we are to talk about our high score of the week this week. And normally we would have Alex on live, but we efforted him and we could not get him. So we are going to just talk about his team. He scored 207 points this week, guys. That's a huge week for week one, or any week. That's a huge week, but putting it up week one is a statement. You know what I mean? That's like a I'm here. And what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, for many years, you guys may recall that the benchmark was 200. For years and years and years, we couldn't crack that 200 mark. I think the high score was 199. We've had quite a few over 200 since then, but it doesn't happen very often. I would say maybe once or twice a year. So for Alex to do it week one, he's like you said, he's throwing down the gauntlet. He's letting us know that he's here. He intends to get this trophy back. Hopefully he takes better care of it this time than he did last time.
I know.
I don't know if you guys have seen it, but this trophy is in shambles right now. It is broken in half, basically. It's basically worthless.
I saw it at the draft party, and I was like, who the hell had it last?
No, it's worse than it was then. But it's barely hanging on by a thread at the moment.
Oh, geez.
But looks like Alex is trying to finish the job and completely break it in half by earning it again this year. What'd you think of his team, Matt?
Dude, what was highest scores?
Tyreek Hill, 48.5. Jacoby Myers, 29.1. Diggs, 29.2. Franklin, 25. I mean, he had big numbers. Mahomes, I think, did a decent job also for him. I don't have his numbers in front of me, but
sounds like all those scores are easily repeatable, and I don't see any way that it stops.
Well, Tyreek's not going to score 48 every week.
No, I think he will. I think he will
every week, huh?
I think Alex's team is to the moon, man. I don't think there's any way to stop it.
Yeah, Reek usually does that 2-3 times a year, where he has one of these blow up games, and then he'll have a couple of weeks where he does less than 10, right?
Yeah.
That's always been his MO. Myers, I think, was a little bit of a shock.
Definitely.
He went his whole career in New England, and the whole thing on him was that he couldn't score touchdowns, right? He finally got his first touchdown in his fourth year last year, and then he gets 2 in his first game with the Raiders. So we'll see how sustainable that is, especially with Jimmy G throwing in the ball. And then, of course, Diggs. I mean, 30 points, that's what Diggs does. When Diggs comes out, you're looking for 25, 35 points.
He got double digits. He got double digits from everybody except for Schultz, basically, on offense. And then he got a couple, he had 7, 8, and 25 on his defense. So
I mean, if he keeps this up, it'll be the highest scoring season ever seen in fantasy before. I mean, like team wise, it's amazing.
I mean, he's the best possible fantasy owner that we've ever seen. I mean,
well, he's so good that he couldn't even spare 5 minutes to talk to us about his team.
He's big timing us. Big time.
He's big timing us. Big time.
Big time.
He's out there scouting. I'm sure he's putting together the greatest
Lake
fantasy
Travis
season
High
I've ever
School,
seen.
standing along the fence, watching these 12-year-old boys run routes. I mean, high school kids run routes. Yeah, he has all the info.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, Alex, on your high score of the week. 207 is a big number, man. It's a big, big number. And we'll see if you can do it again next week. According to Matt, it's going to just keep going. So we'll see. We'll see.
To the moon.
To the moon, he says. All right, man. Well, that was our high score of the week this week. And stay tuned for our low score section coming up next. So hang in there. All right, guys, here we are with our low score of the week segment. And we're excited because this is the segments that we get to come out and talk to you guys in the league every year, every game, every week. Super excited about this. And this is our first one of the week. The Vulture is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Jeff Garofalo. Welcome in, Jeff.
What's going on, fellas?
Welcome.
What happened, man? What happened?
No, not much. This wasn't how I was expecting week one to end up. Let me just say,
especially after sorry, Nathan, especially after the draft, right? And everybody giving you such high praise and everything.
Fuckers jinxed me. Yeah. All your fault. Dude. Yeah. Oh man.
I mean, I think we said it last week. That's exactly how it goes, right? Everybody thinks Jeff has the best team, so of course Jeff's going to have the lowest score. I mean, that's just the good news is that typically only the jinx only lasts for 1 week. So
I hope so, man. I hope so.
I mean, dude, you got to be you drafted Joe Burrows. When you target Joe Burrows, you see Jamar Chase in your peripheral, and you think, okay, Joe Burrows, I got one of the best receivers in the league. I'm going to be set up pretty. 3.28 points from Joe Burrows, Jeff.
Highest paid player in NFL history.
You know what I read today?
Come on, man. He's sitting on the field. Sorry. Yeah. Like, the only thing that's worse than getting low scoring here is in my family league, I got beat by the guy that had Aaron Rodgers.
Oh.
That's
so Jeff,
bad.
I was going to walk you around some of the other leagues since we got you for a minute. You survived both of them in Gilly. You got 2 teams, right? So in the Guillotine League, you're in. That's great. Side League, you barely busted 100. You took a loss there. Main League, you're here because you took a loss. But man, congratulations on kicking my ass in Dynasty. Hey, out of all your losses, which one stings the most?
This one. Yeah, Main League. First year,
Yes.
I'm not putting out a great showing. I'm
Nice.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go cry on my huge pillow.
Well, Jeff, the good news is that although you were the lowest score, next week you get to play against the second lowest score. And I'm still missing quite a few pieces. I'm missing Cooper Kupp. I'm still missing Jerry Jeudy. Darren Waller's still questionable. So, there's not as much hope for my team to make a quick rebound as there is for your team. My question for you is this. Next week, you and I are going to the Rams-Niners game together. Who has a better chance of winning, you or the Rams?
I'd say me. Yeah, I definitely have a better chance than the Rams. I think so.
Okay, so you're guaranteeing it then. All right,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Thanks.
I can't argue.
And that's
that
it
one,
for this
man. I didn't expect the Rams to win on Sunday, man. Yeah. So I was very happy about that. That's the only thing that was kind of saving my day after the disappointed showing that I had in this league.
All right, Jeff. Well, dude, this was awesome. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. We hope you have a better week next week. Just because we as a podcast, we like to see varied people here throughout the season. So maybe not see you till later on in the season. Let's.
I'll be fine with that. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah,
unless I go low to high. Low to high.
It's happened. A couple times.
That's happened. And don't forget your your opposing team's underwear color for your first NFL game. Make sure you do that.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
that's a
right.
thing.
That's a tradition.
Thanks,
It's a
guys.
tradition. Later, Jeff. All right, guys, we're going to move on to rivalry week. That's the big thing here this year in our league. We had to figure out how to fit a 14-man league and play each other twice and all this. Nathan's mind was going crazy, and he finally figured it out. This is how we figured it out. Rivalry week, you're going to play your one rival twice a year, and then everybody else once, right, Nate? I got it right?
That's right.
All right. So this week's first rivalry week, was me and you, Matt. We went up head to head against each other. We already talked about I beat you 163 to 123, and that 40 points was like basically just my defense stomping on you, man. I don't know what to tell you. I got 40 from my defense. I was pretty stoked about that. You have a prepared statement. I believe that's what we talked about. Actually, I'm joking. I know we do. Let's go. Let's get right to it. Every week, our the winner of the two rivals is going to prepare a statement for the other person, and they're going to read it either in a video or live on this podcast. This week, we're doing it live because Matt's here. Here we go, brother. Take it away.
So it's either written by the guy you lose to, or he uses a robot to write it, right?
Whatever it takes, man. It's just a prepared. Hey, it's just a prepared statement.
This
is
the first AI generated thing we have in this podcast, guys.
There you go.
It's going to be the future. All right, it's done very well, Ben. Congratulations on your win. I really, really like this statement. All right. In fantasy football, oh, what a sight. I faced my little bro with all my might. Week 1 was here, the rivalry strong, but alas, my team was oh so wrong. My running backs, they stumbled and fell. Little bros danced to the end zone and yelled. My wide receivers, they dropped passes with glee, while little bros caught everything you see. My tight end, well, he was MIA. Little bro's rookie receiver caught a TD first day. As the final whistle blew, I hung my head. Little bro's victory dance, he gladly spread. He shouted with glee, I'm the fantasy king. I chuckled and said, just wait till week 4 and 14 and I'll do my thing. Nice. So here to week 1, a loss for the book. Little bro's victory, he gave me the hook. In fantasy football, we'll battle once more, but until then, little bro, enjoy the scoreboard.
Yay! Well done. Well done.
Well done, brother. Well done.
Well, you asked for a poem, Matt, and you got one. So
yeah, no, this it's better than I thought. I really was worried before the season that people were going to do some real jackass stuff, which I wasn't going to read. But yeah, dude, Ben wasn't going to do that to me, so we're good.
So we have another rivalry matchup coming up, week 2.
What kind of matchup?
A rivalry. Week 2, rivals, Alex and Adam, and this one should be good as long as they both participate because, as you know, these two are accustomed to making very creative videos for us, and and they I think whichever one of them wins this matchup is going to make a fun little video out of the other one. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, man, that it was a good first week, man. I'm glad it's over with though. I'm glad our rivalry week is done. We don't have to think about it anymore the rest of the season. And I got that win in, so I'm pretty happy about that. All right, guys, we're going to move it on to a new segment this week we're calling it Run the Jewels. And I wish I had some of that music right behind me, some fat mic or big mic or black mic.
Killer Mike.
Fat black big Mike.
I don't know. Whatever his name is.
Were we just going to describe him, or was it...
I couldn't remember his names. I was using describing words. That's all. I figured one of you guys would help me out. All right, we're gonna move it on to that. And this segment's kind of cool. It's a little fool's gold and a little what's the other word?
Diamond in the rough.
Diamond in the rough. Thank you. I couldn't think of it. It's funny. We just thought of it like 5 minutes ago. It's amazing. I couldn't remember it. Here we go. Nathan, you started off, man. Give us a little fool's gold moving forward.
So my fool's gold is going to be a player that we just talked about in the this or that segment. Somebody that, okay, fine, he might have a role later on, but in the early going, I want people to be cautious. If you're going to look at the waiver wire, you're going to see a player at the top of the waiver wire who scored a lot of points last week, who's getting a lot of hype this week. You're going to find his name in all of the waiver columns telling you should go pick this guy up. I want you to keep in mind that Justice Hill does not have a defined role yet. Justice Hill, yes, he scored almost 13 fantasy points last week, but he had 8 rushing attempts for 9 yards.
Whew.
8 rushing attempts for 9 yards. He was not involved in the passing game either. He had 0 targets, 0 receptions. All of his fantasy points came off of the 2 touchdowns that he got at the goal line, and that is highly unsustainable. So, in my opinion, that is some fool's gold. You want to be a little bit cautious when you go to the waiver wire.
All right, Matt, who's your fool's gold for this week?
Yeah, mine is the guy who won the game last night for the Jets, and that is Xavier Gibson, wide receiver for the New York Jets. He is amazing at what he did. He had, I think, 66 yards punt return for a touchdown. He had another 46 yard at a kickoff return, so it's 112 yards. He ended up scoring 15.6 points. He had 0 catches, played 0 offensive snaps, wasn't even looked at to be on part of the offense. So, yeah, he'll get some kickoff return yards, but unless there's a touchdown, it's not going to happen again. It's not worth starting. Somebody worth monitoring, because if he ever gets those touches, in the offense, with the run game, could be great. But for right now, fool's gold.
Nice. All right. Let's move on to our diamonds in the rough. Nate, go first.
Okay, so here's a player that didn't see the field a lot this past week and may not see the field for a few weeks. He's a undrafted free agent, somebody that was not being talked about a lot. But if you live in the Denver area, if you listen to local Denver beat writers, if you're paying close attention to what's going on in their training camp, you should know the name Jaleel McLaughlin. Jaleel McLaughlin was an undrafted free agent. He is 3rd in the pecking order right now, and they do have 2 very capable running backs. But from everything that I'm hearing, Sean Payton values Jaleel McLaughlin, and he looks at him as sort of like a Sproles-type player. And as you guys know, Sproles was very successful in New Orleans when Sean Payton was there. I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the year, Jaleel McLaughlin is owned 100% in everybody's leagues.
Nice. Yeah, man. Darren Sproles was so good in that little role there. It was pretty amazing. If he could get to that level, that would be nice. Matt, who you got for your diamond in the rough?
So Diamond in the Rough is a guy that I actually have in my Dynasty League, and I think that he's going to be a star, hopefully by midseason, but definitely in Dynasties, the guy to go get is Demario Douglas, wide receiver for Pittsburgh. He scored only 8 points last night, but I think he had 5 or 6 targets. This is a guy that they drafted this year. They love him. Like I said, he had 7 targets, 4 receptions for 40 yards. So, 10 yards per target. That's great for a rookie first game. Patriots, they never use their rookies. And to get him 7 targets in the first game, to the moon, man. Pick that guy up.
I'm glad you corrected yourself. I think you said Pittsburgh by mistake earlier, but yes, he's on the Patriots.
No, yeah, Pats.
Yeah, and this guy's very popular in Boston. The nickname they're calling him is Pop Douglas, which I think is kind of cool. Yeah, Pops Douglas.
Pop Douglas. I like that. I like that. All right, guys, that was our Run the Jewels segment. Hopefully that helps you guys out, find some guys out there, and hopefully avoid the fool's gold, because there's always, every week we're out there looking at the waiver wire, and every once in a while you got those guys that Matt said, you're like, how the hell does that guy have so many points? And you find out it was from a kick return or from something that's outlandish. So hopefully that helps you guys prepare for next week. All right, guys, we're going to talk about our bold predictions. We got a little payoff from last week. And this week's bold prediction is going to be Thursday night's game, Vikings at Eagles. Let's talk about that. Nathan, why don't you go first with your bold prediction for this week?
Sure. I think we do need to do a little bit of house cleaning first, though. As you can see, Matt and I are not wearing Fu Manchus on this week's podcast.
Yeah.
I believed that we probably should be wearing Fu Manchus. I had a nice lengthy discussion with Matthew about it earlier today. He believes that, that there was a technicality and that perhaps you didn't win the bold prediction last week. I disagree. So, I don't want to get into a big debate about it, but Matt, why don't you tell us, why do you think that Ben did not win that bold prediction last week?
Yeah, well, Ben, hey, first off, congratulations on predicting half of a bet really well. It was amazing that you got it that right. But you did state at the end of, as you're stating your bet, you said he's going to go out for a multiple week absence. He is out for the season. To me, that is a different bet. That's a different injury. Yours led for him to come back in after a couple of games out. End of the season, I think if I made that bet in Vegas, I don't think it would stand. I think it's 2 different lengths of time. I know you're saying 8,000 weeks in a row is still multiple weeks, so it's still a win. I get that, dude. I understand from your point of view, but I think it's a season-long injury is different than a multiple-week absence, and that's why I'm not paying off the bet.
So, Ben, why don't you do this? So we don't have to argue about it, but why don't you, just for our listeners, why don't you play a clip of you making that prediction again and let them decide. Did you get the prediction right? I would like to propose that we make a rule that we don't predict injuries moving forward. I think I would prefer to predict things that are fun and exciting. And so maybe we can avoid this, but if we are going to say that based on a technicality that Ben doesn't get his bold prediction right, then, I mean, should we just get rid of the bet?
I haven't liked the bet from the beginning. We were teasing Ben at the beginning. The first one wasn't bold enough, and then way over the top, he couldn't get it that precise. And then, me and Ben both thought yours was weak last week. We are not weak. It was 3 touchdowns between brothers, which would be rare to happen.
They got 0, by the way.
But 3 touchdowns between 2 starting running backs isn't that crazy. I mean, it's not. It happens all the time. So I just don't think we're hitting the nail on the head. So therefore, I don't know that it's a great segment. My point of view. But
we're gonna move on, okay? But I'm gonna say one thing. I fucking nailed it. I predicted it. He left in the first half, multiple weeks. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say. Is I personally think I'm right, but I understand your point, brother, and we're not going to go any farther. But guys, right now I'm going to play that video, and then you guys can decide what you guys think. My bold prediction this week is based upon the New York Jets' new starting quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, and my bold prediction is that Aaron Rodgers is going to leave this game with an injury within the first half, and they're going to take him out. And he's going to be out for numerous weeks, and that'll be it for the bold section. The bold statements.
We're not going to make predictions for this week's game, then.
I don't think we should. I think if we're not going to pay it off, and it's not going to, it's a dead bit.
Okay,
let's move it on.
Yeah.
All right, let's move it on to our last week's question of the week. What are your plans for opening weekend? We had some submissions from 3 of our degenerates this week. Jeff, Bobby, and Sean all submitted videos. I also have a video to submit. I don't know if you guys participated. I think, Nathan, you participated, right?
I was in Sean's video.
You were in Sean's video. That's right. Matt, did you participate?
No, I forgot.
All right. Well, we have some videos to show you guys, and we're going to show them to you right here.
I watch football in my house. I even watch it on the couch. I like to watch it in the pool, and even when we're doing school. It's nice to watch it in the spa. Sometimes even in the car. I watch it while I'm babysitting. I like to watch the Chargers winning. I watch football while I'm eating.
He even watches while he's sleeping.
What is up, degenerates? It is finally here. NFL and fantasy football week 1. What am I doing on the big day? I think I'm going to start early with a little mountain bike ride and follow that up with some chicken and waffles and then get ready for some football. The game I'm looking forward to is obviously Rams versus the Seahawks. Going to get me a big bowl of pretzels and enjoy the game, and hopefully we can get a win. If not, I'll wash it down with some dirt cake, Ben and Jerry style. Hope you all have a great Sunday of football.
All right, just wrapped up the Niner game for week 1 with Nate.
Got all the TVs on, watching the games.
Celebration dip. And now it's time for the celebratory dip. Celebratory dip. Woo! Let's go, Niners!
Oh, man, that was a great video from Bobby, man. I don't know about his rhyming, though. It's a little questioning the rhymes. But, dude, how long do you think it took him to record that? Do you think he did it all in one setting, like ran from the spa? And where did those extra kids come from? How did he get those extra kids there?
He might have been recording clips like all summer long and just splicing them together. I don't know.
It was pretty awesome.
Yeah,
though,
thank
man.
you everybody that submitted a video.
Yeah.
I got to take part in the one that Sean did. He surprised me and came over on Sunday. I wasn't expecting it, so it was a nice little surprise. Came out to my football room, and he was sitting there all by himself. And so yeah,
I
it
love
was
how
a
he
lot.
I love how he texted the group that he was there before you knew.
Yeah, I'm sitting in the bathroom texting you guys, and all of a sudden a picture shows up. I'm like, wait a minute, it's coming from inside the house.
It's coming from inside the house, exactly.
Nice.
Uh,
Do you guys cook any football food up? I saw Ben doing hot dogs one day. I don't know if that was football food or not.
yeah,
I mean,
I had good food all weekend.
we fired up the grill. We had some, some good old food, and mostly just filled my belly with beer. A lot of IPAs, 9%ers. I was fucking knocked out by the night game.
Were you drinking Two Hearteds also? I was drinking Two Hearteds that day. I don't know if they're 9% or not, but they do the trick. Yeah, man,
Yep.
I made some chicken wings. I made a beef roast that I'm going to use all week long, and burritos and all kinds of stuff. I love spending the day Sunday cooking, whether I'm watching football or not. But it's way better with football on.
Yeah,
way
that was
better.
a great week.
I kind of already told you guys about my Sunday with the kids and everything. It was awesome. It was just so much fun.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about this week's question of the week, guys. Let's get these video submissions in quick. Nathan, you're doing a hell of a job asking for that bump every other day for these video submissions. So let's try and make Nathan's job a little easier, guys. Let's get these things in. Question of the week for this week: which player have you changed your opinion on most since the draft? And I'm assuming that's pretty much anybody that you thought about drafting and now have seen that, damn it, you should have drafted. And maybe it's who you wanted to spend that extra dollar on that you should have spent it on. And just think of it that way. Frame it that way.
Well, you took it a different way than I was expecting. When you said what player have I changed my mind on the most since the draft, it's Nate. He had a terrible fucking draft. I think he's a terrible fantasy football player now. That's who I think.
Okay.
I think Ben, to your point, it could be either way, right? Who's that player that you wish you spent one more dollar on, or who's that player that you wish you would have just not thrown out that last bid on, like a Cooper Kupp, for example?
Yeah. It could go either way, right? It could be which one you were happy about or which one you regret. That's funny. It's a good twist on it. All right, guys. Well, that was it for this week. I'm super excited about week 2. Are you guys excited? Is there any last minute thoughts, anything you want to tell people before we get going?
Yeah, just this week I will not be in my football room, so no surprise attacks. Nobody show up at my front door. Nobody walk in while I'm in the bathroom. I will not be here. I'm going to the Niners game. They are playing in LA against the Rams. And
Nice.
Sean and I are actually taking Jeff to go see his first professional football game. So that should be fun.
That's cool.
And we've decided to tailgate right in the heart of the faithful. So, Jeff, beware. Wear your Rams jersey, but be careful, okay?
And don't forget you have the opposing team's underwear color. That's a tradition, dude. It's a tradition. You got to do that.
I've never heard that one before.
I've never heard that before until you said it in the thread the other day.
Come on, dude. That's you guys are the worst.
Maybe that's a college football thing.
You guys are the worst. I can't even. Obviously I'm doing a bit because Jeff's never been to a football game. This is a bit.
I get it.
You guys are the worst.
Oh, I thought maybe that was an excuse you made for having yellow underwear.
Yeah.
God. All right, guys. Well, this was fun. Can't wait till next week. Thank you guys so much for being here with us as always. And that was it. The Ordinaree Fantasy Pod. Clearly a fucking bit. God.